Hey, flooring pros. I'm Jerry Levinson, and this is the Flooring Business Podcast, where we talk to expert flooring dealers, suppliers, marketing experts, software experts, and anyone I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information. It's going to help you reach your goals. If you're just starting your business, you're trying to reach 5 million in sales, or you're ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information. It's going to help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is sponsored by Floors App. For the best flooring business operating system and websites in the industry, contact Floors App. Working with them now, they're doing an excellent job. So this week I got on Roland Thompson from Thompson Flooring and Install. I've been wanting to interview you for a long time, actually. So you do all the Restaurant Impossible shows. How'd you go about getting that?
Well, actually, it started out, I did ABC Extreme Makeovers. And then I did another show on the DIY station called Stonehouse Revival with Jeff Dublin. But how I ended up with Restaurant Impossible was that a manufacturer had donated the product to the show, and their head tech was supposed to come in and with his crew and do it. Well, something happened, and they had to go out west to handle a big dealer out there. I don't think it was Phoenix, so. It could have been, who knew? Anyway,
Nobody comes to Phoenix.
Yeah, so I mean, it could have been. And so anyway, because I did some training for them when their guys couldn't get to the training, they had called me and I did some freelance training for them. The tech called me and said, well, can you take up my spot? And I said, yeah, okay. And of course, he had to be a smart aleck and say, you're gonna be on camera, and so show your good side, make sure your back's to them. And so I said, okay. So I went and did it. Well, they always had trouble getting flooring done. They would get local things, and it takes us, it takes patience. You can be a great installer, but if you can't be walked on, then you don't want to be there. It's as simple as that. Anybody who's helped me will tell you, you got to stop, start, go, and you still got a time frame to get it done in, and on that show. So I did the job. It went well, and the designer asked me to do another one. I ended up with another one and doing for just that designer. They're sort of territorial. That's my guy. Well, then, long story short, whenever I didn't do them, they were having trouble. Not saying I'm better at it, just saying I have more patience.
And you can say you're better at it. That's okay.
I have, the Lord's given me some patience. So, yeah. So, so then the star, Robert Irvine, and the production company says, you can't do flooring unless you can get the Thompson guy in here to do it. So nice. That's how I ended up doing it.
That's really cool. I love those posts. That is some of the coolest stuff I think we see on the forum. So we had a conversation I did with Ken and Eric the other day about kind of this battle that goes back and forth between flooring dealers and installers, and installers feeling underpaid and underappreciated, and flooring dealers. I'm taking the side of the flooring dealers that are kind of tired of being told that we're treating everybody like shit. And quite frankly, that argument has never increased the pay. It hasn't worked. That strategy hasn't worked. And part of my argument is, you were just telling me about your experience with Carpet One. And part of the argument is the flooring dealer isn't raking it in. Some of them don't run their business properly. Some of them are paying less money because they haven't set up the processes and systems and the pricing to run their business properly. So it's not out of greed, it's out of, maybe incompetence. I hate to use that word, but
right. Not knowing how to run a business. Yeah. And running it wrong. And I agree. And I watched your guys' segment, and that's why I made the comment I made is it was a good segment. It was good. There were some good points both ways.
You don't have to be nice. You don't sugarcoat it. You said it wasn't good enough.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Where I felt disappointed in it, I guess, I don't know about this. Yeah, I was disappointed. Is that you covered pay, but we've been talking about pay for years, about installers getting more pay. And Ken's done a good job on relaying, hey, you don't need to get my pay, you have to have my mindset. You know, because me and Ken talks a lot, and that's his thing, is he wants to get people to get his mindset of getting the most you can. And so you talked well on that. That was covered a lot, you know, and everything, every time you started something, it went back to that. Where I was looking for was what installers really wanted. And you look at, I talked, you know, because I do travel, and I do, you know, yeah, Ken and you guys talk to guys online. I talk to installers all over the country, hundreds of them, in person. And when you're in person, you get a truer story, because guys are afraid to go online and see how they really feel, afraid of getting roasted online. So online is good, but yet it's bad, because they, you know, they don't post their pictures of their jobs. They don't come in and interact in the conversation, because they don't want to get made to be look like a fool. But when you're sitting down having a cup of coffee, and you're sitting there in their location and their spot, they're more free to open up about what they want. And then, of course, like I said, me handling the installers for years, and handling what the customers want to hear and what our installers want to hear and what happens, and being one myself, because I still get out, and I still get out in the field, you know, a fair amount.
Well,
you know,
I've
because
been making the argument for a long time that it is not about the pay, and what I feel, and you can tell me where I'm wrong. Let me tee this up.
Go ahead. Yep. I won't cut you off.
Tell me where I'm wrong here, and or if I'm wrong, or if I'm off base. I've been saying this for quite some time now, that what I feel that installers truly want, if asked in a survey, they'll always answer pay first. But what I see from my experience, what they want is installers want to be kept busy, and they want to have everything they need on the job, good instructions and all the material they need, so they can do the job and be efficient and not have to go back and fix something. That's, to me, has been the biggest frustration. And I'll even admit that's probably the area where I've failed the most as a business owner, that end of it, that I never got really good at that. But those are the two things that I've always argued that installers want most. So
All right.
expand on that, or tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, you're wrong some on that. You got part of it right, you know, and pay is definitely in there. Okay. So, but the guy wants enough to have what everybody else has in life. Okay. That's paying his bills, being able to put a little bit of money back, be able to take a vacation with his family if he wants to take a vacation with his family. That's what they want. They want, you know, so that's going to be on how they live and how they want to live. Okay. So me, I'm a simple person. I don't take a, I don't need to have the extravagant stuff, the stuff, but some guys do. So, you know, and everybody's wages are different there. So it doesn't take as much, but they do want to have that. They want to be able to live comfortable, put some money back, take their vacation. That's what they want. But I agree with you. They also want to have a, the job set up right. And that's a conversation we'll get in about the salesman knowing the product, knowing installation. That comes to that. But they want the job set up right. All right. So when they get to the job, they're not running around because they didn't have all the stuff for the job. They want it to be set up to where it's, timely, that they have a decent day. They can be done by, not have to work till 5, 6, 7 o'clock, So they want that also. So you're right there. They do want that. But where I find more than as much as that, and Ken took about 30 seconds, and I wish I was saying, all right, it's there, I'm going to hear the rest of it, is the respect issue. Okay. Installers want to feel needed and want to feel respected, just like anybody does. The salesman wants to feel needed and respected. The office staff wants to feel needed and respected. a person needs that. They have an ego. And so, they and they do.
You guys fought against me on that. Roland, I talked about, a process that gives them recognition and respect. And when I did that, they took it as an insult because I talked about this process of having a whiteboard. I have the installation incentive program.
Yeah, I listened to that.
All right, but why is that an insult to an installer to have a whiteboard, have a score, have 5-star reviews up there, hand them a 5-star review, give them a bonus? Isn't that how you show them appreciation and respect and recognition? I mean, why is that insulting?
Well, it wouldn't be insulting to me. Okay. And when I was with the Carpet One, didn't have a whiteboard, but I had a similar thing. They had surveys. They went out. What I did at the end of the month is I had a meeting with the installers. So and to a certain degree, I pointed out because they got $5 for every survey that came back cash.
Yeah.
$5 for every survey that was 4 and 5s. All right. So yeah, if I handed a guy and he got $200 in cash and the other guy got $50 in cash, he knows there's something wrong there. So that's sort of like the whiteboard, but it wasn't up on the board. It was,
Look, the cash is a reward, but the score is what.
But still,
to know that they did a great job.
Correct. But that cash is a reward, but still guys knew, when I was walking out with $200 and they were walking out with 50, my scores were better than them, so or they would have had the $200. So
did that score and that process drive you to do a better job and have a better understanding of the professionalism? Because I always said being a good installer is not about doing the job right. You have to do the job right. It's about the communication between you and the customer and you and the store, and that everybody's kind of on the same page. So the customer has a great experience.
Well, one, and like won't name names. We had one installer that he did the most production that crew did, the most production for our store. So if we had jobs we would need to produce, we know he was going to get it. That we'd give it to him until I let him go. So anyway, but he was the highest production. And as far as his work was top notch. There's nothing wrong with his work, top notch work, but he would never get good scores. And the reason he gets good scores because of his attitude.
Right.
He had the worst attitude in the world. So people did not like him. When he left the house, they didn't want him back, not because of his work, because of his attitude. And so he never got high scores. It was always low scores.
We had a guy that had a scowl on his face all the time. And he was a good installer and he was a nice guy, but he looked like he just didn't give a shit. And I'll tell you what helped him. COVID, when he wore a mask, people loved him because they couldn't see his face. They couldn't see the look on his face. So that really, the mask really helped his performance.
All right. And we're in trouble because we're both Leos.
All right.
So,
well, yeah.
All right.
Everybody's entitled to our own opinion.
Hey, yeah, that's right. So anyway, to get back. So the whiteboard, I didn't see any problem with it. I could see where installers would like it. It felt like they were being graded back in high school or in school because they're being graded. So I can see points both ways as far as that. But you guys stopped there. You stopped on that respect and that aspect of it that installers want. And I'm going to ask you a couple questions since we're at this layering. All right. Go back to when you were running the store. I know your son runs it now. But go back when you were running the store. Could you name me all the salesmen that you have at your store?
Yeah.
Name their names. You can name all their names, correct?
Yeah. Could
you tell me how many kids they have or if they're married?
Probably. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Could you tell me what they like to drink?
Maybe we went out. No, I couldn't, but I'm not
You
going
know,
to
what they, when they're in,
I get where you're going with it, but yeah,
okay.
I know them more intimately than I know my installers.
So,
Absolutely.
correct. Okay. Why?
Because I'm
Do
around, not because I care about them more, because I'm around them more. I think that's not a valid argument because
Sure.
it's not because I care about them. I'm around them more. Anybody I'm around 6 hours a day, I'm going to learn more about that person than somebody that I load up the truck and they go. And it's not that I don't care about them. It's we don't sit down and have time to get to know each other. That just doesn't, that's not a reality of the situation.
Sure it is. Sure it is. Because I could tell you that with everybody I have. And why? Because it shows you as a dealer, an owner of a company that depend on all aspects of your process to work smoothly. All right. If you went out of your way, what I'm saying is if you went out of your way, because it will, like you said, you're around the salesman more. You're around there in the store with them. I agree 100% with that. Don't disagree with that. But you as an owner that wants everybody to feel, excuse me, everybody to feel wanted and needed. And that's what I'm saying about the respect. If you want them to feel wanted and needed, you ought to go out of your way, take the time and the effort to learn that. All right. To learn more about them. Because that shows them
I think
more
that's
that
more
you
the
care.
role of the operations manager who's
No, it's a role of him, but it's a role of you too. It's a role of you. I don't agree with that. I think it's a role of you too, because you ought to know them. All right. And there again, you're walking down, let's say a mall, and you see one of your salesmen walking towards you on the other side with their significant other. All right.
Yeah.
Big chance you would stop and talk with them. Correct?
Yeah.
At least acknowledge each other. You have a installer over there. You see, and oh yeah, he's one of our installers, and he's walking with his significant other. Okay. Would you take that same time to walk over to him and acknowledge him? And I tell you what you do, because I've done it, and the miracles it does. If you walked over to him, say hi to him, look at his significant other, and say, you know what? Jerry here installs for us every day. He takes such good care of my customers. He does such a great job. You're not looking at him, you're looking at her, or whatever significant other is nowadays. You're looking at them, and you're telling him how great they are and how good and how proud you have them. That installer is going to go back, and he's going to be riding high, and he's going to go to his jobs, and he's going to do nothing but build your company up. That's the respect, and that's the part you guys stop. There's more to respect than treating them okay. Respect is treating them over and above. If you want that installer to feel that he's needed and wanted and like, and I posted it not how long ago. I had an installer that came in here, and his son happened to be with him because they didn't have school, and he came with him that day. And you could tell the boy didn't want to be there. And I got down on my knee in front of that younger boy, and I said, listen, so it tells you it wasn't too tall because I had to get on my knee. Anyway, I got down on my knee, and I told him how great his dad was, that he was a superstar. That installer and the helper both walked out of there with their chest poked out so far, and that young man grew 2 inches.
Yeah.
That's the respect. That is the respect in what this industry needs. And I can tell you, and I'll throw their name out there because I'm proud of this store. I've done a lot of work for them. All Line Carpet One up in the Lancaster area and in Pennsylvania. All right, I go there and I do trainings, and I have never heard from any of their installers one bad thing about that company.
Right.
They had 2 young guys there just out of high school, learn the trade, and we were doing a resilient training. And I said, well, to the owner, I said, they can't get certified. And he said, oh, I know that. And they're paying $500 a piece for these kids. And I said, they can't get certified. He said, yeah, I know that. And I said, well, he said, but I want them to learn. I want them to start learning now. And he invested in these young boys that, to invest in them. These boys were tickled to death to be there and be included with the older guys. So that's what I'm saying. This is all respect. This is what I'm talking about, that this industry has taken away. And if you say,
well, I don't think that's an industry problem. I think that's an individual
that,
business. It's their responsibility to do that. And look, we've done jet ski trips for them, and I would acknowledge them in the mall and do what you're talking about. I don't know them as intimately as I know my salespeople, but we've done all that stuff in our company. But I get your point, but I also don't agree that it's an industry problem. That's
I agree with that. It's not an industry
opportunity to do better. So it's good advice for any company owner to understand how important that is.
Well, that's what makes it an industry problem, is because you do some of that stuff, and so does All Wine. They do that stuff. There's stores that are doing it. So there's good stores that are already doing it because they figured it out. They figured out where they need to do to bring and keep. Because I've been in this too long. All right. And one of the major things with our industry, and that doesn't get addressed, is that these new people come in. You get a new person that comes in, and he gets hired, and you hire him, and you put him with a crew, and you put him with a guy that is not happy. And it doesn't take more than a month to have that new guy say, why am I here? Why am I staying here? Because this guy tells me how bad it is all day long. He hears it for 6-7 hours a day, on how this installer is being taken advantage of. He's not being treated right. You treat him like dirt. And don't tell me it don't happen. It happens every single day all over the country.
Yeah.
Right. And so we can't keep guys. They come in, or women, and that because they come in and they hear how bad we are. They hear how bad the retailer is. They hear how bad it beats your body down. They hear how hard of a work it is with no compensation. So they hear that all day. That's a major problem. All right. You threw in in your conversation the other day with them guys, you threw in, what was it? I think I got it written down here. About I'm getting tired, you getting tired of some things. I get tired about the plumbers, electricians, that if you talk to a plumber's helper, he's getting paid less than what an installer helper is a lot of times. All right. Yes. When the plumber gets his journeymanship and he becomes a certified plumber, he makes that bigger money. Well, a guy who gets hit and that level in the installation realms is going to make what that plumber makes. Same thing with electrician. You have to be a licensed electrician to even wire a house. But his guys that are working for him that aren't licensed, they're not getting any more than what fair guy's paying a helper or an apprentice. All right. So yes, you guys use those. Go to the drywall end of it. Go to the painting end of it. Find out what them guys are being paid, because they're like us. They don't have to be, in most states don't have to be licensed. Got to have insurances and that, but don't have to be licensed. So that pay thing, yes, a plumber is making a licensed plumber, a licensed electrician, but so is a top-notch installer. He's making what they're making. So you can beat that down saying, why would they come to us? Well, give them a reason why they can come to us. They can do that faster. Then again, the Porsche is a Porsche is a Porsche. That's bullcrap. You can go to a car dealer, if that Porsche dealer here in Hagerstown wants to sell it cheaper than the one in Frederick, they'll bring the price down. That's why people price shop cars too. So the prices do fluctuate from a Porsche dealer to a Porsche dealer. You can't tell me they don't, because I haven't priced a Porsche, but I've priced higher end cars, and they will come down and give you deals on them. So that's another thing that's misleading in what we're saying.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no,
I'm done.
well, a lot of people are making
I'm
the
done a
argument
little bit.
too about the difference between how you treat or pay an installer versus a salesperson. Look, I just think they're two totally different things, and there's no moral equivalent between them. But by the same token, there's nothing special about a flooring installer or unique about them than any other employee or subcontractor in America. It's not our job to make your life the way you want it beyond what you do. You know, people have to take responsibility for themselves. And if you don't like the conditions that your life's under, but sometimes we coddle them in this conversation about the evil flooring employer, which that's not working. So I wish people would knock that crap off, because, you know, and nobody speaks up for the flooring dealer. I started to, because I got tired of the conversation, because it's not changing it too. And I've always argued this is not an industry-wide problem. There's not an industry problem. There are companies that operate better and pay better and treat people better, and there's companies that don't. And sometimes companies that don't, they don't do it out of evil or greed. They do it because they don't know how to run their business properly. So
I agree with that.
end up holding checks, paying, and it's not because they're trying to screw you over. It's because they just don't know how to do it, and it's wrong on all ends. But you know, I can't get flooring dealers to change the way they price and all that and the way they operate their business unless they have a desire to do so. So give somebody advice and information unless it has to start with them and their desire to improve their lot in life. You know,
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, you know, I had to take responsibility for my life and what I do and what decisions I make, you know, and so does, you know, all installers. Now, you know, like I said, I'm just giving you ways that you can help. I mean, it benefits you.
yeah.
It benefits you as a dealer, and it benefits me as a dealer to upgrade my installers. All right. I mean, face the facts. A lot of installers get in tax trouble. Why? Because they don't know how to run a business. Just like some of the retailers that don't know how to run a business that you can't change. All right. Well, what would it be if you offered? Now, there again, you can lead a horse to water, but can't make him drink. But a dealer, if he has good installers and they're a good installer, he just knows they struggle with the business end. All right. You can't make him go do a business thing. But what if you said to him, hey, listen, I've talked with our comptroller, and, you know, he's willing to, if you come in an hour a week for so many weeks, to sit down with you and show you how to run books, something you offer right there. It shows it there again, shows the installer, you know what, he cares about me.
So a couple things that we've done, and my son has done, is, well, one, we prepare what the invoice is so the installer doesn't have to prepare it, and they see what it is so they can accept it or reject it or ask for more money. So we knew that was a huge time saver, made that change a long time ago. But the other thing is, I think my son has been, because he's the one running the business now, it's his business, he has had such a desire to bring them in and do that conceptually. It's a great idea, you know, but that's one of those things that it's like, I want to do this, but that's one of those things that's difficult for, you know, it's like, look, the whiteboard idea I have, it's really complicated to keep track of all that and do that.
Sure.
How many times do we all have these great ideas, and man, they're just really difficult to implement. So I agree, you know, bringing these guys in. But a lot of times what we find too with an installer, they don't want to come in. They'd rather work and make money.
Well, to a certain degree, but
you make that offer, you bring them in, maybe you pay them during that time too. So you compensate them for additional training. We've done all of that too. So, and again, I think it's the individual businesses who are attracting the best installers and improving their situation. But it's the installer's responsibility to want to improve their situation enough so that if you don't like the circumstances, and that's the funny thing is I talk to guys like you who have argued, and Ken, that you guys all argue on behalf of the installer, but you all didn't like your situations and you all made the change for yourself.
Well, truthfully, up until I, opened my own place, went in, I subcontract and for years and years and years. As you figure, this is my 51st year, so I'm old. Anyway, and so one, I didn't have I never had all my eggs in one basket. Never. I worked for multiple places as a subcontractor, and I always got along with it. I never had a single dealer that I couldn't walk back into tomorrow if I went back into it that's still open and go to work for them.
Right.
You know, so I always got along with the dealer. Again, that's my disposition of me, and you calling me a nice guy. And anyway, so, but right. An installer has to take responsibility for what he does, who he works for, what he does, and how he runs his business and everything else. I agree 100% with that. I'm just saying, as a dealer, to uplift that installer, he doesn't have to do that. I agree, but to do it shows his level of a respectability and his level of being a professional to help these guys, because it makes nothing but his business better. All right. So is it an industry problem? Yes and no. It's an individual problem but that individual is part of the industry. All right. So you say it's a dealer's problem, but the dealers are part of the industry. So it's still an industry, problem, because they whether it be,
I would change the wording. It's a problem within the industry. It's not
correct.
a problem.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
which all problems are there, and all these problems are opportunities. I love it that there's this problem in there, because now I can improve my business and the way I operate to attract better installers, to charge my customers more. That's such a huge opportunity. So anytime that there's this problem or challenge, I look at it as an opportunity to make things better. And it all comes down to customer experience and making the customer's experience better. So how do I make the customer's experience better? Part of that is treating my installers better and paying them more and making them equipped to be successful. So that's the opportunity for me as a dealer. Look, I think we got into this a lot, and I want to spend some time on the next.
That's what you just saw me lean up. I actually was getting ready to switch it over, why I guess I was on here. All right. But I rabbit chased it. So anyway,
let me tee you up for that topic. Do you have anything else on the other one you want to finish with, or are you ready?
I think okay. I sort of made my point on what the installer wants. They want more than just money. Do they want money? They want to be paid right so they can take care of their families and do that. But do they want other stuff? They definitely want other stuff. Okay. Now
the next one, I got to tee you up on it, because
go for it.
And the funny thing is the way installers respond to this next argument is that you don't need installation expertise, experience. You don't need knowledge of the expert to be a good, successful salesperson and still give a 5-star experience and still provide a floor that offers a lifetime guarantee on the install. And I would go product at a time. Part of the problem with my argument is installers take that as a disrespect or a slam on them and what they know. No, that's not my conversation ever. I'm in awe of installers and what they do. I can't believe what they do. I think they're amazing. I've never worked that hard in my life. So I'm not capable of it. I couldn't be able to get off the floor if I got down there. So what I want to know is why does everybody think that you need, or not everybody, but so many people believe that you need all this knowledge to be a successful salesperson? Why can't you honestly, ethically sell floor for a customer and provide a 5-star experience without being intimately aware of what it takes to install the floor?
Okay. Well, here's where my take on that. Okay. For one, I'm looking at I pulled up your survey you threw on here about how many jobs, and you're losing it. You got 36, say 5 to 25% is there's your issues. Another 22%, say 10 to 50%. 10% said all of them. You're less than one is only 13%. So you didn't do too well in that survey. But anyway.
Oh, I'm not looking for anything on that survey. I mean, that's great information.
I know. I'm picking on you. Jerry. All right. So anyway, here's my take. I agree 100%. You could take me. I feel you could take me because I think I do pretty good at selling. I could go, or you could take a good salesman and tell him to sell ice to Eskimos, and that salesman, he's a good salesman, is going to sell it. Okay, I agree 100% with that. What it takes to be a good salesman isn't as much as your knowledge as it is two things. One is people trust you. People's got to trust you. Mm-hmm. So you all right, and they got to. The number one key to a salesman is know how to close a deal.
Yeah,
you can have a salesman that can talk all the expertise about about the floor prep, about the wear layer, about whatever. And if he doesn't know how to ask for that sale and close that sale, he's not a good salesperson or sales lady or whatever. So a good salesperson has to know how to get people to trust him and know how to ask for the sale. Okay. So I agree 100% with you, Jerry, that a good salesperson can sell product and sell things and make the sale. What makes a super salesperson is one that knows how to do that. It doesn't have to know everything. And that's why, it's really good news for me, for us, CFI, if you want to say it. Our tech portion of our program we have the tech, whether you're a carpet tech, wood tech, or whatever that is made for salespeople, is booming. I mean, almost every training I go to do now, they are putting their people in for the technical, which is I love to see. All right, but and there again, I don't think a salesperson needs to know every single detail. Well, they don't. They don't need to know every single detail of the installation. They got to understand the process. Makes them a better salesman. Can prepare a consumer better on knowing the process. All right. It has nothing to do with closing the sale. It has to do with education to make everything go better and smoother, having the stuff ready at the home. Simple thing of having the breakables out of there, because the salesperson then knows. And yes, you can put a process back in there. I know you're going to tell me you can put a process. Yeah. That I know you're going to tell me that. I already read you anyway. But I'm a firm believer, and I tell people, and we did it. I made sure it was done at the Carpet One. I sent any new salesperson out for 4 weeks. Now, it wasn't 4 consecutive weeks. Might have been 2 weeks and then break another week and then another week. I sent them out with every surface. They went out a week with the carpet, week with the resilient, a week with the ceramic, and a week with the hardwood. All right. To get the idea, to give them more aspect of what happens in each different flooring. And then it gives them an idea of the installation process. All right. So he don't need to know how to do it. He gave them the idea of the installation process of what it takes for that to be installed. All right. Now, on the same realms, you bring an installer in. And you pay them for both. You pay them, see that they're compensated so they don't not have a paycheck. You bring in an installer. An installer needs to come in and do the same thing. He needs to see the sales process for a month, not a week. Give him a month to see what the salesperson has to go in of the person that comes in there and beats the crap out of them because they want a cheaper price, or they went to 4 different stores and they want you to give you a deal, and all that. So they need to understand. So the sales process, and they need to understand each other because they're both part of that same link. All right. So, you're only as good as your weakest link, that the saying says, and it is true, So if your weakest link, wherever that's at, you train them into your process. You put into your process the training is needed for that.
So how long would it take you to get a salesperson up and running and selling successfully? Because that's a ton of knowledge that they would need to acquire, somebody new off the street. Or are you stuck only hiring people with a knowledge background?
Oh no. You can hire somebody that has sales background but not flooring. It's your job as the dealer that hired them to get them to where they need to be. All right. Just like, you say, well, it's not my responsibility, the installer, it's his responsibility. No, it's your job as a dealer to get everybody in your link, in your chain, to where they need to be. And whatever it takes that to get them there is what your responsibility as a dealer is to your organization, if you want to run a good organization. I mean,
well, okay, there's the crux of it there too, is a lot of times people are so focused on everybody knowing enough details or being a good organization or being so knowledgeable, and they're moving slow. And meanwhile, you got a guy that knows nothing about flooring doing $30 million a year and, opens his store up and has lifetime guarantee on his product and service, hires salespeople to go out there and sell, and he has nothing but 5-star reviews. I mean, there's a way, and there's a happy medium to move faster and be knowledgeable. But what I see from a lot of, especially coming from the installers who transition to retail, a lot of times on the sales process, they're so consumed with the details that their process is this: let's go out there, let's check out the job, we'll come back, we'll work out an accurate estimate for you, I'll send you an email. And they're making sure that they get all the details and make sure we get the job done right before they get the job. It's like, what good does it do to get every aspect of the job right if you don't get the sale? So I always argue, it's like, let's get the sale and then let's get the job right.
That's what I'm saying about, salesman knowing how to close. He knows he needs to know. A good salesman, even with the knowledge of the install, going through the details, he still needs to know how to say. He needs to know when to close and how to close. For one, you always assume you have every job.
Let's talk about product. Because we talked about carpet, we talked about luxury vinyl. Some people will say I lost, some people will say I'm right, but let's you and I hash this out with something more complicated. And something honestly, I don't know much about tile. I don't know much about tile, the process, or how it's installed and sell. I guarantee you, I could spend an hour with you and create a sales presentation.
Yeah, we don't have the time. We're
I'm saying that conceptually, and I do this with clients all the time. I've built good sales presentations for people on sand and refinish that help them sell the job for $8 a square foot instead of $4. Okay, so it's about the sales presentation. Not only do I build in that presentation, I have a better understanding. I can sell that job without ever really having been on the job site and seen one done, but I can sell it intelligently enough and charge enough to overcome obstacles. And that's the funny thing too. I mean, you said, and I know you're joking about me losing the survey, but look, if you have 20 jobs out of 20, if you have 20 jobs out of 20 that require additional work, that's great. I can be prepared as a salesperson to discuss that with the customer and discuss our process for handling that. I can prepare by charging more to overcome that. So saying we don't charge extra for additional floor repair. I can show photos and examples and tell them what to do so they are prepared, and say that that's something unique about this area. I can set my salesperson up for success without them being intimately knowledgeable about what it takes to install the flooring.
I'm not saying you can't, Gary. What I'm saying is that, can you imagine if you took that same salesperson, okay, that you set up to sell a process that you've set up, okay, and to close that, all right. If you took that same salesperson who has that ability and has that knowledge to do that, and gave them some installation knowledge also.
I'll tell you why that's a bad thing. I'll give the argument for that.
Because you think you think it's going to slow them down and deter him.
Not only slow them down, it's going to affect the way that they sell. There's I got a buddy who owns a pool company. His top salesperson said he doesn't know much about building pools, the salesperson, and he was crushing it. He decided one year, you know what? I need to learn this business. I need to understand it. So he spent a year really learning and understanding what it takes to build the pool so he could, better demonstrate that to customer. His sales went down because he was so busy over explaining and telling customers details about things that didn't matter. Same argument with a PK session. I don't allow them to do a PK session because they don't tell you how to sell flooring. They tell you how it's made and why, like, a carpet is stain resistant. And then I hear a salesperson regurgitate that crap. And what happens is they're so busy explaining things to the customer, what the customer needs to know. I want to tell you what I think you need to know instead of listening to you and finding out what's important to you. And that's what happens. They transition from this education-based sales approach. And the guys that are good at it and that can close, that understand how to sell and close, are the ones that are already start off with the knowledge. Some of the installers can go in and they're personable, they talk a good game, and they know what they're doing, so they can close a sale. But when you teach somebody, a salesperson, all these details, they have a habit of saying, oh, and you want to make sure that this happens, and you want to make sure that happens, and we got to do this. And they end up losing the sale over a salesperson that's better and quick and say, you know what, this is going to look beautiful in your house. This goes great with your cabinets and flooring. This comes with a lifetime guarantee on the installation. It's going to be so easy to clean. Again, what drives me crazy is like carpet, the way that's sold and manufactured, and the carpet companies will all show you why their carpet is stain resistant. This carpet will hold up better to dog urine than anything else. There ain't a customer that comes in my showroom looking for carpet that holds up to dog urine. If they got a problem with dog pissing on the carpet, they're not getting new carpet. They say, hey, when my dog dies, I'm going to get new carpet. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't agree with that, because I actually have it, proof. Because, like I said, I'm both, I'm on both sides of the spectrum, and I dealt with both sides of the spectrum, and I've had to answer to consumers in their homes when I had to go out because of a phone call and what they were told at the store and wasn't told and everything else. But my salesman, like I said, I told you I hired the best salesman, because there again, I knew all the salespeople around the whole town. All right. That everybody has tried to get, everybody's tried to, and you don't want one of your salespeople to come up against him, because he has the knowledge, but he also knows how to close, and he also knows how to make the customer know that. And my phone call after the job's done and saying, hey, how did the installers do? Did you treat you right? Did they clean up? Did they, were they pleasant in your home? How did my salesman do? How did he do? What did you think of him? And he has the knowledge, but he knows how to close. Stores don't want to go up against him. And we have so many times come in, and when I make that phone call and say, hey, how did Robert do? You know what? He was such a pleasure to talk to. He was such a pleasure to work with. He was so much more knowledgeable than any other salesperson we walked up to. Hey, it happens on a weekly basis that I get that statement to me. So knowing that knowledge, having some knowledge, I'm not saying know it all. I'm saying they have some knowledge on the installation process in the right hands of the correct salesperson. I can't help it that your salesman got lazy once he knew more stuff. That's your problem, not mine. I'm picking on you, Jerry. I'm picking
So
on you.
the product knowledge, the sales thing, and we built that in the presentation, because part of this is showing people, not telling them, because a lot of people don't remember it. But when you show them your process, the installation, and it's not showing you that you're good, and it's not showing them, you know, what they need to know, it's telling them what they should expect as a customer. Well, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. And, you know, some of the things is so ridiculous, like, we're going to tear out your carpet, we're going to throw it away for you, I'm not going to leave it out on your sidewalk. You know, and when we put together, we always put down Dumbo spray. Dumbo spray kills dog urine, mold, mildew, bacteria, and odors.
Right.
Nobody does that stuff. And so it's about creating a better sales presentation and process. And then when I get into other products, I do break it down, the installation more, and we go over it with the salesperson too, so they understand this process and how it's done, so they can explain it to the customer. You know, so it's just a fantastic tool to make a salesperson more effective. And a lot of times with salespeople that are very knowledgeable, I have to get them to take a step back. And, you know, there's a saying, it's better to understand than be understood. You know, and one thing that drives me crazy is when salespeople tell customers what should be important to them, and they're not listening to them. You know, they're not listening to them about what really is important to them. And that might be speed of getting it down. You know, what can you get in right away for me? Or I have this look that I'm going for. And I think a lot of salespeople take the fun out of it, you know, and this is part of the other problem. And I've made this argument, they take the sex out, you know, and it's like the transformation in your home is phenomenal. And the appreciation, I think this is a big problem with installers, is they don't appreciate and respect how impactful their work is. And they're looking at the details of their work, but they don't understand that that customer wakes up in the morning and steps on that floor and just, they're in love with it. They come home from work and it's like stepping into a brand new car. It is so transformational and impactful to that customer. And I think if you get that across to the salesperson, you know, that's what you're selling. You're selling that, man, what's this going to be like living on this floor?
I can tell you what, through the years, I can take an installer has such power. Okay. You could have a consumer come into your store and they bought from you, but somewhere along the line, the salesperson, somebody in ordering department and stuff by the time us as an installer walked in, they were teed. They weren't happy. Right. We're there because they want to get it done. All right. I come walking in, and it's happened more times than it should happen, but it's happened, you know, before. All right. I, as an installer, could turn that customer around where you guys lost that customer. I have the power to turn that customer around to come back in your store because they didn't want anybody but me back in their home.
Right.
All right. So an installer can save the day. If it happens the other way around, and that installer comes in there and the customer gets mad at them and to them, I'm never having this company back. There is nothing you're going to say to get that customer back. So we have, the installer has that power. And because we have that power, all right, I'm going to ask you another question. All right. Why do you not, you train all your salespeople in the process. You train all yours, and not just you, I'm talking about in general. You know, I'm gonna have to say, you listening to you've got understand things better than most dealers do. Not all dealers, because there's good dealers out there, but the good dealers are getting it. But why does a dealer, he has customer service training for his salespeople on how to handle customers and how to deal with customers, good or bad. All right. Why do they not? why do I see nobody giving that same training to installers?
I'll answer that question for you, because they don't have training for their salespeople, because they're not business people and they're not understanding the value of training. Those, you know how many salespeople are untrained, and there is no formal training for salespeople. I created training for salespeople. I've got videos and training on salespeople that I sell, and I work with other dealers. There's nothing out there. Try to YouTube or something about training for salespeople. There really
Okay,
is.
well, they
So,
should. They should have.
but
training
that's the
salespeople.
perception from installers and those guys, that this guy is smart and knowledgeable about how to run a business, and they're mistreating me. Yeah, maybe they're they're probably not.
Maybe they're just bad at running a business.
Yeah,
right?
from top down. You know,
So
and a lot of these
so
guys
like
are
you
starting
said,
their business because they were installers and they're technicians, and they started a business, you know, and I've
so-
been there myself.
Yeah.
I went from technician to business owner, and I had to go through bankruptcy, and I had to go through failures and get kicked in the teeth to realize that my knowledge, I was in window coverings. My knowledge in window coverings was not getting me where I wanted to go. I had to learn about marketing, sales, hiring people. I had to learn how to run a business and to learn about the numbers. So, you know, the majority of flooring business owners don't really know how to run a business, and you know, they're doing the best they can, but it's a complicated business. All businesses are complicated, you know, but a lot of them need help. They need coaching, they need mentorship, they need help. I mean, we all need help. I'm selling sales coaching and mentorship. I needed help to learn how to sell sales coaching and mentorship. You know, I've been in a mastermind for 15 years to get better in business. Same mastermind, but when it came down to selling coaching, and I'm good at sales, I'm good at this stuff, but I needed help. I needed coaching to learn how to sell what I do. You know, we all need some help, and we all need other perspective and see how we can run our business better.
Mhm.
So, and you can't give it to people for free because they won't follow it. So they have to be willing. Everybody has to be willing to do it for themselves, whether you're the business owner, you're the installer, you're the salesperson. If you're not interested in changing your own circumstances, nobody's going to do it for you.
I agree with that. But like I said,
Well, we can end the conversation right there. I mean, I'll just cut it off.
and I agreed with you. Oh,
I agree
okay.
with everything you say. Okay, that's good. We're done.
I didn't say I agreed with everything you said. I said I agreed with that.
No,
But
you said everything.
Just like it's like anything in marriage. Your responsibility for your marriage, your responsibility, with your kids, you're responsible. So yes, you're responsible for your life, but in the same realms as when you're working together, in a business and it's a team, like I said, I didn't have all my eggs in one basket, but I got along with everybody I worked for, and I made it a point that I got along with everybody I worked for. So we worked on good terms. And
Right.
that's the same thing with the installer, with the retailer, with that. If you want things to run smoothly and want things to go. And I said, one of the biggest problems in this industry is that the people are out there bad mouthing each other. The salespeople badmouth the installer badmouths the store and their salespeople. And until we work at each individual store
Right.
works to correct that, that's going to be a major problem. And that's why when you get new people coming in the industry, and all they do is go online, or nowadays you go online and you hear all the negative, and you want somebody to get into the trade, then let's make some positives out there, and make it positive starts with all of us.
I deleted somebody off our group because they were getting into name calling and arguing instead of, this is an interesting conversation that helps a lot of people. And if you want to enter the fray, I don't care if you think I'm wrong, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me I'm out of my mind. Don't start insulting me and calling me names and crap, that devalues the conversation. So I think these conversations have been great. I mean, it's really been helpful, but even, between installers, the salespeople, and those arguments, again, that's nothing unique about our industry. That happens all over in business.
It's in everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, every industry, wherever there's a salesperson and an installer involved, whether it be what it is,
yeah,
there's, so we're not different than anybody else.
right.
You can try to tell me this industry, like saying, oh, why isn't the electrician electric? Believe me, I've been on job sites, and that apprentice is out there working, and what he says about what his company is not the prettiest thing in the world. And I've been out there with all the different trades, on job sites, and it's not unique just to us. We might think it is, but it's not. Just like the pay, it's not unique. The guys down there, in the electrician field and HVAC and all in plumbing, the guy at the top tier is making that kind of money, and the company's charging that kind of money. But the guy that's in the field learning, it's not making that kind of money. If he did, he'd be driving a Porsche.
Same token, Roland, if somebody is complaining and they're a problem, as leaders and owners of our companies, that falls back on us. It's our responsibility to make sure that these guys are taken care of and they're not complaining. And if something goes wrong, you can bitch and gripe about that employee all you want, but hey, man, it's your responsibility. Did you give the proper training? Did you set them up for success? At the end of the day, you can't complain about them too much. That's not going to get you anywhere. As the leader and the owner, it's on you to address the situation and take action. It falls back on us.
Yeah, and like I said, here's back in my younger, cockier days. I had this one salesman for his one company I worked for. I mean, he was always short. I'm like, oh man, it's his job. That means I got to do some extra semen. I just know he's going to be short again today. So finally I got fed up with it. I walked into the showroom, walked right up to his desk. I pulled my tape measure off my side. I went, you see this? This is known as a tape measure. See these numbers? What's 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot? And in between that, there's other numbers. That's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. There's other numbers in between there. Don't worry about it. Just learn to read these numbers. And if you read these numbers, we'll be okay. And I put my back on my side and walked out. And the owner come to me. He looked at me and I said, hey, the man needs to learn. You need to train him. And the guy's short on all jobs. I took responsibility. I went out there right in the showroom. Now a customer wasn't there. So it was an empty showroom.
Right.
But it's the same thing in all aspects. If I have a store I work for, or if I have a salesperson that I work for, it's my responsibility. If I have constant mistake by that individual or that store, then I need to go down. I'm as an installer, I need to take my responsibility to go in, sit down with who's in charge to make things to change, because it might not be the owner, it might be somebody else that's in charge of that, and sit down with them and say, here's our day-to-day problem that we're having, that I'm having to have. I have to take that responsibility to inform them. Now, it's the responsibility of the owner or the store itself or the manager or whatever to help correct that issue. So there again, that's that communication, talking back and forth. I can't expect the dealer, the store, to know what's going on if I don't inform them.
Right.
All right. It's my job to inform them. Now, it's their job to see that it gets corrected, to help us do our job back for a satisfied consumer, whether it be commercial, residential, GC, or whatever. So there's a responsibility both ways. One is to inform what's happening all the time, and then the dealer to take it seriously and see that there's ways to put in the process to correct that.
Yeah. Well, as a Leo, my role was always, look, if you got something to say to me, say it behind my back. I really don't care to hear it. So.
Not me. I'm a Leo, and I'll say, if you have something to say it to my face so I can hit you. No, I didn't say
Right.
that.
I'm a lot shorter. I'm a lot shorter than you are, so that doesn't work out for me.
I don't know. I'm not that tall.
I was saying,
I lost my hair and I shrunk,
my fighting experience led to one time I punched a guy in the fist with my face, so that didn't work out very well.
No, that
I
wouldn't
mean,
work out.
I broke his fist, but so he'll never do that again. So, and then I laid down on the ground so he wouldn't hurt himself anymore.
All right. Hey, what else you want to get on before it gets too late?
We are too late. I don't like to go over 60 minutes, so.
Okay. And I don't like listening over 60 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Ideally it'd be good 40, 50 minutes. Sometimes the shows are too long, but let me wrap it up with my little closing remarks. Thanks for coming on with me, Roland. I've been wanting to get you on for a long time. And I'll tell you why I didn't choose you, because of your response. You said, if you don't get anybody else, I'll do it. If
I
you
know.
said, I'll do it, then I would have chose you first.
No, that's all right. Like I said, I'm one that, I do speak my piece. I'm not afraid to speak my piece, and I, no one, I don't let people rile me. I know, doesn't matter. I try to be an even keel guy, and I think that's what's made me successful in what I've done in my life, is that,
I've had a great voice in the industry. I mean, somebody with 132 years installing should speak up.
132 years. Yeah. I've been accused of putting, Dave Garden, he's one of them. He at his trainings, he'll say, and I've got calls, but he'll sit there and say, Rollins worked in the White House, which is true. I have. But then he goes on and goes, it was the Lincoln's bedroom while Lincoln was in it. That's awesome. and then I had other ones. They'll say,
you should quote him on that. That would be great advertising.
And then another one that gets told out there is that I put the dirt in the floor of the ark. I'm like, I mean,
that too. That's great advertising. You got to use that stuff. That's good marketing.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a pleasure. Like I said, but those are, I think, and it's, my firm belief is that in a salesperson knowing, basic installation of products does nothing but enhance them. If you can't get them to sell properly, that's your problem. But I think it does enhance.
And one of the reasons I've claimed that it's not necessary is because not only slowing down the process, but it makes it complicated to hire a salesperson and get them up and running and going on their own. Normally, when somebody goes to hire a salesperson, it's because you got leads coming in and you need to get them out there. So developing processes, good sales training, and good sales processes to help be able to hire a salesperson, get them up and running fast. They will learn more and more as they go along, right. But it's not necessary, and there are ways to do that, and one of them is don't tackle all the products at the same time. Let
definitely
person be an expert in carpet first, and then luxury vinyl, and then move on to more complicated products.
And that's why I said the 4 weeks, is because that way they could go out and learn a little bit about each one each week, and you can spread that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Wrap it up.
I'm going to wrap it up. All right, guys. Thanks for joining the Flooring Business Podcast. If you'd like to have a one-on-one discovery call for your flooring business, where we can review where you're at and how you can increase sales and profits by over 30%, go to jerrylevinson.com. In there's a free assessment where you can score your business, see where your areas that you need the most improvement. Other than that, go out there and sell some flooring.